Well, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Brooklynite TV podcast. We're going to try to cut through the noise and dive deep into the story that matters most today. And we're tackling a real mystery that's buzzing through the skies of New York and New Jersey. These drones, they're flying overhead, but there's questions, and they're piling up. Who's behind them? What do they want? And why isn't anyone talking about it? So stick around because we're going to unpack all of this and maybe even try to find some answers. Spoiler alert. The truth might be out there, but it's definitely not coming from the White House. So let's get into it. In recent weeks, a growing number of concerns have taken root over the skies of New York and New Jersey about these drones that have been spotted hovering over suburban landscapes. Again, the question on everybody's mind is, what are these drones doing here? Why are they there? And more troubling, why does it feel like no one, from local authorities to the federal officials, is offering any clear answers? It's easy to see why people might begin to speculate. With the rapid growth of drone technology and their increasing usage across various sectors, from surveillance to military operations, it's not surprising that residents, city officials, and even lawmakers may feel uneasy. After all, these devices are capable of causing real harm in the wrong hands. Their small size and low flight altitude makes them difficult to detect, and their ability to carry various payloads potentially harmful or hazardous raises the stakes even higher. However, what's perhaps even more concerning than the drones themselves is the lack of transparency and communication surrounding them. And when pressed for answers, officials have been quick to label these events as inconsequential, or worse, non-urgent. This silence has only stoked public fears and invited a multitude of conspiracy theories, ranging from foreign adversaries using drones for reconnaissance to more extreme possibilities involving attacks on nuclear facilities or testing of biological agents. But here's the thing. Nobody knows what's going on. No one really knows. And that's the problem. The official narrative has been that these drones are not a threat. They pose no immediate danger. We keep hearing that. But when we see them, we hear them buzzing around, and we see something unfamiliar in the sky above our heads, it's hard to simply dismiss that feeling of unease. No matter how much officials want to assure us that it's no big deal, the fact remains that the sheer volume of these drone sightings, combined with the mystery surrounding their origin and purpose, suggests that something is amiss. One of the most frustrating aspects of this whole situation is the lack of communication. When citizens reach out for clarification, they're met with vague responses or outright silence. This includes not just local governments, but also the federal government. The White House, which is typically the epicenter for addressing national security concerns, has offered little in the way of clarification. Even as speculation reaches a fever pitch, officials at the highest level are reluctant to give clear, substantive answers on the situation. And as taxpayers and concerned citizens, the American people deserve transparency. The absence of communication from the top down creates a dangerous vacuum, and in the absence of facts, wild theories proliferate. Some claim these drones are part of a coordinated effort by Iran to test American defense systems, perhaps a part of a larger intelligence gathering mission. Others fear that these could be a precursor to something far more sinister. Attacks on critical infrastructure, strikes on nuclear power plants, or even the deployment of chemical or biological agents. Now, these theories aren't far-fetched. These theories range from plausible to far-fetched, but the fact remains that they exist at all speaks to a larger truth. When people aren't given information, they're left to fill in the blanks on their own. And let's be clear, this isn't just idle speculation. People are concerned because they can see the drones. They're not just hearing about them secondhand or reading about them in the papers. They're witnessing them with their own eyes. The drones are hovering above city streets, near bridges, and in the vicinity of sensitive sites. The constant presence of these drones, whether they're conducting surveillance or something else entirely, suggests that there's an ongoing situation that's not being fully disclosed to the public. It's also impossible to ignore the feelings of anger that have boiled over. People are frustrated, not because of the drones, but because of the lack of any serious response from authorities. If these drones pose no real threat, then why aren't we being told more about them? Why is the White House refusing to address this with urgency that it demands? It's hard not to feel as if the government is downplaying a potentially serious issue here, as if they're trying to keep the American people in the dark. This level of opacity creates mistrust and uncertainty. We want to know the facts, and we're not getting them. The American people are being left out of the conversation, and that feels like a betrayal. We are not just sitting idly and waiting for answers, we're actively looking for them. It's not like we're asking for every minute-to-minute detail about the situation, but we want something. The silence from the White House and other levels of government isn't just frustrating, it's irresponsible. The American people have a right to know what's going on, and it's disheartening to see those in power unwilling or unable to address the issue directly. Whether these drones are part of a foreign operation, a domestic test, or something entirely different, the public deserves to know. Without information, speculation thrives, and when people are left to their own devices, they will inevitably begin to imagine the worst. This situation is not just about drones, it's about transparency. It's about trust. It's about the relationship between the people and the institutions that are supposed to be serving them. When that relationship begins to erode, as it is in this case, it leads to deep speculation and frustration. The longer this silence persists, the harder it will be for the government to regain that trust. The people are not stupid. We see the drones. We hear them buzzing overhead, and we're told that it's nothing to worry about. Is this really all there is, or are we being kept in the dark for other reasons? At the same time, it's essential to acknowledge that the public isn't the only one in the dark here. Reports are emerged that even local law enforcement, as well as national security agencies, have been struggling to identify who is behind these drones. If the federal government, with all its resources, doesn't have the answers, what hope do the rest of us have? This lack of clarity creates a sense of helplessness, as though authorities themselves are scrambling to understand what's happening, and that only fuels the conspiracy theories further. But even as frustrating as the lack of answers may be, it's important not to lose sight of the core issue. There is a genuine problem here, and it requires a real situation. Dismissing the drones as a nothing burger or brushing off concerns as overreaction isn't going to resolve the problem. It only deepens the divide between the government and its people. And we deserve answers. We deserve transparency, and we deserve to feel that our concerns are being taken seriously. The longer this situation is allowed to fester without any clear response, the more dangerous it becomes. People will continue to speculate, fear will continue to mount, and distrust in the government will continue to grow. This isn't just a matter of drones hovering above New York and New Jersey. It's a matter of national security, of the government's responsibility to protect its citizens, and the importance of keeping the people informed. The American people are not asking for much, just answers. It's time for our leaders to step up and address the situation head on and provide the clarity that we deserve. Only then can we begin to move past the uncertainty and start working together to find solutions. In the absence of real answers, all we can do is wait. But the longer we wait, the harder it becomes to ignore the sense that something is terribly wrong here. Until the government takes this situation seriously, and until the truth is made clear, the public's distrust will grow and grow and grow. Let's hope that in the near future, the government will choose to act in the best interest of its people and provide clarity that's desperately needed. Until then, the mystery of these drones will continue to hang over New York and New Jersey, and the people will continue to demand answers. And that wraps up today's episode of the Brooklynite TV podcast, everyone. Whether you're watching drones hover over your neighborhood or just trying to make sense of the silence coming from our politicians, remember this: the truth is out there, but we're still waiting for someone to share it. Until next time, people, stay curious, stay skeptical, and hey, keep your eyes up at the sky. We'll be back with more questions, hopefully more answers, and of course more Brooklyn flavor. Catch you on the flip side. Thanks for listening.